This is Musical Talk.
Musical Talk.
The UK's independent musical theatre podcast.
Musical Talk. The UK independent musical theatre podcast.
Welcome to this week's episode of Musical Talk. My name is Nick Hudson. I'm here with Dominic McChesney. Hello, Dom. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you.
Good. We're going to be discussing two fun things today. I want to start with a discussion about Half A Sixpence.
Ah, yes.
That you and I went to see on our own accord, which was very nice. We went quite recently, didn't we?
We did. We went on Monday, didn't we?
And we thought we'd have a chit-chat about it.
Yes.
I knew nothing about the piece. All I knew was that it played rather well at the Chichester Festival Theatre.
Yes.
And George Stiles and Anthony Drewe had done new songs for it.
Yes.
And it was meant to be a rather charming, sweet British show.
Yes.
And it had a song about cameras in it.
That's all you knew. That's all you knew.
And the noises they make.
So, did you know anything about the history of it at all?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So I thought I'd get the expert on clapped
hardly
out old musicals.
Clapped out old musicals.
When Thos isn't here, I refer to his twin.
Well, I'll start by saying it's definitely
mother.
not a clapped out old musical. It was. I mean, it made huge stars of Tommy Steele and Marty Webb.
Yeah. He was in the film. See, it shows how little.
It wasn't the film. She was on the stage
Okay.
production. So.
And when was that?
In 1963. And it also went to Broadway and then made him a big international star over there. And then he ended up in a lot of, obviously, films in America, working for Disney and Finian's Rainbow, did The Happiest Millionaire. And there's the film version of Half A Sixpence as well. So,
which you knew.
Yes, I knew the film. I'd seen it as a child. I saw it a few years back, actually. I rewatched it a few years back before they announced this version.
And Marty Webb was in the original.
She was in the original stage production, yes, that's correct. And
playing the Emma Williams role, which we had.
No, she was playing Anne.
Okay,
I believe so. I believe yes, she was playing Anne.
It's interesting because I don't look at Anne as being a main part. I always thought it was a bit of a secondary or even a tertiary role. I always thought the Emma Williams higher society role was more.
Well, actually, the part of Helen, which Emma played, was, I think, significantly smaller in the original production. So Anne is most definitely the female lead.
So they've done a swap, almost.
Kind of. Although, I think Anne's still quite important. I think definitely, yes.
Swap seems to be the theme of the show, doesn't it? We obviously said we had new songs by George Stiles and Anthony Drewe. It's a Cameron McIntosh production. He likes to get his hands in it and create things.
Yes, they've reimagined
it.
They've reimagined it. They've reworked the book and they've removed some of the original songs and changed some things around. I'd need to refresh my memory completely over some of the things that they've changed. I have to admit that I do miss some of the songs that they've taken out, especially All in the Cause of Economy.
Which is the opening song in the films.
It's very near the beginning, so there's probably very, very good reasons for them taking out the certain songs that they took out. And if you don't know the show, I don't think it's going to suffer from it.
We had a song called Look Alive, which replaced.
Yes, which was fine. It was quite nice to have a kind of big chorusy number about.
I guess they might nowadays function more as book songs. I mean, I had the interesting angle that you didn't, whereas I didn't know any of the material, so I didn't know what was new or what was old, and nothing stood out to me as being jarringly new. So all credit to George and Ants and the music team there for.
So you didn't notice a difference in styles?
The one song I did immediately realise was the Stiles and Drewe song was the Believe in Yourself sentiment, which just sounded like anything can happen if you let it, from Mary Poppins.
It's what they do really well. They write those
positive Sherman-esque
lift songs very well. So it's something that's really in their style, isn't it? So
a lot of songs though.
There are a lot of songs.
They just keep coming and coming.
I've got a feeling that there was just as many in the. I'm just looking up here. Yes, there's more songs I think now. Flashbang Wallop, What a Picture comes a lot earlier in the original production, whereas here it happens right at the end.
Now you said that song was never written for the show in the first place.
I believe not. I believe that they added it and it became a huge hit. There wasn't a big number that was really a huge hit in the original productions, and I believe, I could be wrong, But I believe they wrote that, and that's one of the numbers that became really well known. I'm glad that they kept If the Rain's Gotta Fall, which is a wonderful song, and it closes Act 1 here.
Does it fall at the same point in the original?
No, it ends Act 1 in
show.
this revival. In the original, it kind of just before Act 1.
Right. Just before Act 2, you mean?
Act 2, yes.
Just before Act 1, that would be very, very...
Yes, and it's in the film. It's actually a really, really good moment in the film. It's a lovely number in the film. I did enjoy it. Julian Fellows has rewritten the books.
Well, let's talk about the plot. It opens with kind of a teenagery young boy and girl.
Yes.
Arthur Kipp. I could have sworn was a character in Woman in Black.
Well, Kipps.
Yes.
Yeah, same name.
And his friend Anne, as they're playing around on the beach, and they find 2 bits of a sixpence broken up, don't they?
That's right. Well, he actually cuts it in half to make a love token. Yes.
And a class war ensues.
Well, yes, but not really a class war. He finds himself in a position because he comes into money, and he has to deal with being rich, but his heart is from his working class background.
It reminded me of Salad Days.
In what way?
Extremely British,
Yes.
representing a gone era in England, which Stiles and Drewe and Julian Fellows do very well.
Yes.
Which they're doing in another show at the moment, Wind in the Willows, which I'll be seeing soon.
Yes.
Don't know about you, Dom, but I presume you'll see it.
Yes.
And very class driven, but it's the opposite. The fact that I'm not going to give much away, but he kind of loses his money and then he's happy. Whereas the American model of the musical would be he gets all the money and he would be happy, because that's
Right, the American Dream.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I mean, it was one of those shows. Didn't it come to? I can't remember. Didn't it come into a lot of criticism because they said it was old fashioned and everything? And it seems a bit silly to have this huge criticism of things being old-fashioned and or outdated values and things like that. It's if they're period pieces. If it was a modern piece, I remember someone saying this about 42nd Street, saying, "Oh, it's terrible because the women are subservient," and you're thinking, well, it's a period piece. Yes, I can agree. If it was a modern day show making a modern statements, I would say yes, that's awkward, but there has to be room in art and shows and any type of art and TV.
I think they were saying, I read some comments on Wind in the Willows about it being, I can't believe that we still have...
Oh, I read that, but I also do remember Half A Sixpence coming up for some backlash, and I can't remember what it was about. I think you've got to be able to have period shows. You can't just throw things away. I mean, and David Henniker is a lost composer that we don't. And Beverly Cross, the book writer and lyricist, their work is not as known, as it were. And he was one of the English composers.
Who knows Charlie Girl?
Well, a lot of people do know Charlie Girl. You don't.
No.
But a lot of people do, so...
I'm sure many people nowadays probably do not know Charlie Girl.
No, but it wasn't that long ago that the last revival was on, with Paul Nicholas and...
we should certainly do an episode about the two of them.
About David Henniker and...
Yes.
It would be very interesting. I mean, there's a lot of shows that are lost.
The Faces of Dr. Jekyll.
Yes, I know someone who's a David Henniker expert, actually, so it might be quite interesting.
Hennicologist.
Hennicologist, who would be interesting to talk to about David Henniker. So actually, maybe I'll try and get him on Musical Talk.
Sure, you and Thos will have a lovely time.
Yes, I won't invite you.
So he comes into money.
And
he has to decide, do I go with the rich girl or do I go with the poor girl, to put it bluntly.
Well, he thinks he's now in the league of the rich girl, doesn't
Yeah.
he? So he suddenly thinks, oh, well, now I can be with her, because I've got money, because he thinks that's the only way that she'll look at him.
I sat there thinking, as a big fan of Mary Poppins, this is very similar to Mary Poppins, that the fact that we have, this is the supercalifragilisticexpialitosis moment, with a new song, which I really liked, called Pick Out a Simple Tune.
Yes.
And this is we need a tender moment here, so let's put that in. So it's Julian Fellows, Cameron, George Stiles, Anthony Drewe, all coming together and taking a show, writing new lyrics, writing new music, adapting old lyrics, adapting old music, putting it together with new stuff, doing a new counterpoint here with the old section there, and it works well.
Yes, but were you drawing comparisons with Mary Poppins purely because it's the same team?
And the same era.
Okay.
And the same team writing a thing about class and the prejudices of class, and I don't know if the film was...
Is that in Mary Poppins, though?
Well, there's the whole thing in Mary Poppins about Mrs. Banks inviting the right people round for her tea parties, which is something Julian Fellowes added. So it seems to me that they're...
repeating themes.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing. I think the piece lends itself very well to that.
Yeah.
My God, there's a lot of dance in it, isn't there?
There's a lot of choreography.
Some people like that. I personally don't mind it, but you commented on it, didn't you?
I did think it was a little bit busy, and sometimes you kind of go, oh, maybe it was just a little bit too busy on the
I also felt, and this is an odd statement to make, so I might be wrong, but the stage seemed a bit small for the amount of dancing there was.
Yes, that's interesting. Yes, or would you say that the amount of people on stage filled up the space very well with the dancing they did?
Chichester stage is a lot wider.
Right.
So it might have been that it worked really well in Chichester when they had the room to spread out, but at the Noel Coward Theatre it just seemed a bit too squeezed in.
Well, it's interesting because I know that it was originally in Wimbledon, but of course the Noel Coward Theatre, or what used to be the Albury, is where Oliver was originally on, and I always thought that Oliver was in a bigger theatre, and it's not. The Albury's or Noel Coward's a small theatre, so to imagine Oliver on that stage is quite something you think, oh wow, that's quite odd.
Especially now with the Oliver that I know,
which is
massive,
a Theatre Royal or Palladium.
Yeah,
style.
But we didn't have the Tom Kenny set.
Sean Kenny, sorry,
which was at the this production originally.
Yes.
Now this is obviously a star vehicle for a performer. This show, and we didn't have the lead.
Charlie Stemp. No, we didn't. We didn't have him because we had his understudy, Sam O'Rourke, who was incredible.
Yeah,
and brilliant. I mean, and
as an understudy should be.
Oh yes, absolutely.
I think if you weren't told and you had no idea what the person looked like,
completely,
you shouldn't know that there's an understudy.
No,
on.
No, not at all. And I mean, and that's part of that. But it's interesting because this production of Half A Sixpence has really been. Part of the marketing has been the focus on how great Charlie Stemp is. Yeah. So, a lot of the posters are, A Star Is Born, blah, blah. So it is Half A Sixpence, Charlie Stemp, and, he was an unknown before Half A Sixpence, and now he's done extremely well from it. And I didn't see it with him. I've heard people have seen it with him and have just said he's incredible and everything. So, but we saw Sam O'Rourke, who is Charlie Stemp's understudy, and he was wonderful. And audience,
you have to sing, act, dance, and play the banjo.
Sing, dance, act, and play the banjo. Yes, quadruple threat. And he was so confident on stage, and he got a standing ovation, quite rightly so, by people. And that was really nice. Is that when he came out for his bow at the end, people genuinely stood up, and so it wasn't like one of these forced standing ovations. It was a genuine standing up to
at that moment
reward him,
and the cast were pushing him.
Yes.
Bowing.
Well, wasn't I believe the girl playing Anne was understudy as well. I don't know who it was because we didn't get a little thing with it, but it's usually played by Devon Elise Johnson. So it was either Rebecca Jane Davis or Bethany Huckle. So but whoever it was, she was very good as well. But maybe she's played the role already a little bit much.
Well, sometimes an understudy might even be better than the original person.
I have seen some shows where I've seen understudies in roles, and I've been very pleased with what.
I saw Laura Michelle Kelly in My Fair Lady, for example, when Martin McCutcheon was off that year,
and that made her a big star.
Yeah.
So. But yes, Sam O'Rourke was wonderful. I mean, both him and Charlie Stemp obviously has had the notices, but I genuinely hope that Sam O'Rourke goes on to other things as well.
Credit to arts educational schools,
which
this show appears to be a showcase for.
Everybody in the cast is from Arts Ed.
A role that stood out to me when he came, speaking of Winning the Widows, was the character played by Ian Bartholomew, who plays this kind of weird playwright character who reminds me of
Chitterlow,
of again the tramp in Salad Days, who kind of comes and just makes everything work, like a sort of fairy
he's
godmother.
he is a Deus ex machina sort of thing.
That's
so
the word,
so and of course, famously in the film, it's Cyril Ritchard. Do you know Cyril Ritchard, Nick? Nick's looking at me with raised eyebrows. Cyril Ritchard was in all the Anthony Newley, Leslie Brickhurst musicals.
Hello, Cyril.
He wasn't in all of them, but he was in The War of the Grease Plains and The Smell of the Crowd. Was a big musical comedy star in Broadway, English actor, but and it's one of his film performances. But there were some lovely moments, and I loved the number they do, which is actually. Oh, it's an original one. The one that Who's Run Away, which Kipps and Chitterlow sing at the beginning of Act 2. And that was it's a funny song. It's a nice duet. And they're talking about, do you go for the girl that you kind of thinking is right, or do you going for the girl that's running away, as it were?
I liked a song, Little Touch of Happiness, which is said with a Cockney accent, which you didn't realise.
I didn't realise.
It is a rather old but fun pun, and I'll leave it there. But it makes light of all these smutty postcards that you used to get on the pier, didn't you? So it's a perfect and very clever Anthony Drewe lyric, and we were chatting to Emma Williams afterwards, and I said, am I reading too much into that? And she said, you are absolutely not. You are correct. It is as smutty as you think it is.
Yes, indeed, yes. So, it is meant to be. So, is it... I didn't really realise. I'm not sure whether... Do I like that or not? I don't know. I think maybe...
I think it's suitable for the... Not the message, but the kind of smutty postcard thing they're going for.
Yes. Although, is it too smutty? I mean, maybe I'm being too prudish there. I'm sure that they know their things better than I do. They know their period, and I'm hesitant over whether it's completely correct, but I can't imagine that this creative team would put anything in that wasn't creatively correct. So I would probably assume that my feelings are wrong about that.
Well, if you're American and you might not understand the gag, let's just say that the Cockney people in London don't pronounce their H's, which will give you an idea. If you haven't got what we're talking about yet, never mind. I want to talk about the staging. It wasn't a crash bang wallop staging, was it? It wasn't special effects and bangs and things everywhere. It was very restrained, which I quite liked.
It was
no helicopters or chandeliers.
No, there was a lovely little raining moment at the end of Act 1, but there was nothing that was... It was purely the material and the performance and the choreography, and the show was the star. So rather than anything else. Now, and nicely, I think, even though it is been billed as a star vehicle for Charlie Stemp, or he's become the star from it, it really is an ensemble piece. It is quite... Everyone's got quite a nice, healthy chunk of role or whatever.
Especially when they come out at the end playing banjos.
Yes, that is quite sweet. That is a bit of a gimmick, but it's one that you kind of like, you're smiling from ear to ear when everyone comes out.
Or not playing banjos, as the case is Emma Williams. Hello.
No, she did. She did say she got it. Yeah, you mustn't... Don't put your friend in it.
I also wanted to see it because it was the last show that my very good friend and mentor William David Brown orchestrated.
Right.
And I thought he did a very good job, and I said to you, this is very Bill Brown, the sound. It is full of whistles and dings and claps and slaps and things, which was quite fun.
Yes.
I just thought it was absolutely charming, and it was everything I expected it to be.
Oh, that's good. That's good that you had those... it was very much...
The ending of Act 1 is very powerful when the lower class girl sees the upper class girl talking to the man in the middle, and that I had to go, ooh, it does kind of had a slight dark Act 1 ending, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does have that little bit of an edge,
and that's great because that's what you don't get in a film. There are no act climaxes where you can go away for 20 minutes and then, I mean, but didn't they did have intermissions in film originally?
Some films, I can't remember whether Half a Sixpence does. It's quite a long film. It might be one of those films where they have the intermission.
Or interval, as you call it in this.
Yes, but in the films it was called intermission. But I don't know for sure, so I would have to rewatch it. But I've got a sneaking suspicion it is. There is one.
If you were to rewatch it, would it have it? It wouldn't have it in it, would it? Or
yeah, it might do. It might do. I know they have there's a lovely scene in the film which I do love where he's at the house that's being built, and it's kind of half built, and he's standing in a ballroom, I think, and he's kind of imagining things and the different characters the girls come in. So I really want to watch the film again now to see the difference between the film and the stage show, because I've got a feeling that there is quite a lot of difference. It seemed a little simpler on stage than than I remember the film. So maybe
things often are.
Well, maybe they have simplified it a little. But
it'd be interesting to see the original stage show compared to the film, and compared
yes,
to the restaging stage show.
Well, you should also listen to the cast recording and listen to the songs that they are no longer in it. I'm sure they took them out for a very good reason. Like I said, I did miss a couple of them.
It's a very odd title for a piece, isn't it?
Well, Half a Sixpence. Well, not really.
Does it have a deeper meaning, do you think, or is it just about...
Well, the Half a Sixpence is about a love token. I mean, the original title is Kips.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, I think that would be a better...
Yes.
Because the Half a Sixpence song is new for this production.
No, it's not.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting my asterisks muddled up, so
yes.
I'll cut that.
Yeah.
Were there any lyrics that you knew from original songs that suddenly changed?
No, not that I was aware of. No, actually, no, that's a lie. There was one, and I may be wrong, and I don't know. I'd have to check. I thought that they'd put in the word "click" to "Flashbang Wallop," because I thought originally it was "Flashbang Wallop, what a picture, what a picture, what a photograph," and it sounds like they've put in "Flashbang Wallop, what a picture, click, what a picture, what a photograph," and
let's listen to the click track to find out.
And I don't know whether they did have a click track tap dance.
Ooh, I noticed that. Yeah.
Did you notice that? Yeah.
No pun intended. I know last week we promised Stiles and Drewe on the show, but they're just so busy at the moment we haven't had the chance to organise the interview. But when we do, we can ask them all these questions. Now we've seen, and hopefully we'd have seen Winning the Widows by then as well. But
how long does it last for? How long is it on?
I think it's on for 10 weeks.
10 weeks, 10 more weeks.
10 weeks
and then
more.
Probably, I mean...
I'm sure it'll tour.
I'm sure it'll tour.
And I want to say...
It is a great show. I mean, we do say to people, go and see it. So
I want to say hello and thank you to the young lady that chatted to me in the interval.
Oh, yes.
Who's a big fan of Musical Talk. So
hello.
Hello.
I didn't meet her.
Thank you for listening. And I want to now chat to you, Dom. You've just done a production at the school you're at of... Yes. Into the Woods.
Into the Woods, yes.
The synonyms, the perfect scans. You weren't expecting when you started this course to suddenly be playing the narrator in Into the Woods, were you?
No, I wasn't at all. No, it was an absolute joy. I was surprised. I was asked to take on the role of the mysterious man and narrator in this production, which was a great experience. My first time I've ever done a Sondheim. So
it's a good introductory Sondheim piece, isn't it?
Is it? I don't think there is an easy introductory Sondheim show.
In my mind, there is Sweeney Todd and Into the Woods. They're the kind of commercial, because they've had movies made of them recently. Right, yes. I know Little Night Music has and things, but I guess you could say that Little Merrily We Roll Along is a bit commercial, because it's...
Well, it is now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
it was a terrible flop in the beginning. But
yes,
anyway,
it was, yes.
And so I think it's a good introductory piece.
Yes.
For an audience member, I would say.
If you're a
performer,
show.
You're fucked, because none of Sondheim is easy.
Oh gosh. Strong words, Nick. So it's definitely a challenge. I mean, I did come into it thinking, oh, the narrator, I come on and I just speak. No, the narrator sings. He does sing quite a bit.
Do you speak, sing, or sing?
I sing. I sing. I had to sing.
Opening.
Not in the opening, no. The end of Act 1, and also as the Mysterious Man, I had to sing No More, which they cut from the film. So they cut the narrator and the Mysterious Man from the film. So those people who only knew the film but didn't know the stage show would have been in for a bit of a surprise. In fact, one of my friends came to see it, and he didn't know the piece at all. He'd seen the film, so it was a huge surprise. He didn't like the film. He saw it on a plane. Not that changed his job. He didn't like the film. He said, and then he said, well, this one actually made. He said it suddenly made sense.
And what was the concept? It sounded really interesting.
The concept was, because we were doing it in a very small theatre with a reduced budget, so the concept was very much like a rehearsed reading that kind of spirals out of control. So it was 3 tables, 18 chairs, and people in ordinary dress, which they added certain things to create their characters.
So it's bit Woman in Black, to go back to
yeah, actually, yes, very much a concept of setting it in the location it was. So it was set in a theatre. We've very much embraced the audience.
As all performers should do.
Yes, but very, very, very consciously.
Oh,
suddenly, I mean, the narrator is.
What, they all stood up and played trees or something?
Well, we did at one point, yes, yeah. We were all trees.
But on this course, you've been taught by Stuart Pedler, who is a Sondheim expert. So
he is indeed, yes.
To have him on board at some point.
Oh, amazing, yes, incredible. It was a really, really wonderful experience. And it was an amazing show to do, and bloody hard work, and I loved every minute of it.
Are there links between the two characters? Because I know the narrator and the mysterious man.
Mysterious man. Are there links? Yes. I mean, it depends on the way the show is done, but suddenly at the end of Act 1, when the mysterious man dies, it's written actually in the script. If it's the same actor, that's when the actor reveals themselves as Mysterious Man. I mean, and as the narrator. We very much had it that the Mysterious Man dies on stage, takes off the hat, and suddenly he's the narrator again. The narrator dies in Act 2, but the Mysterious Man comes back.
And what did you do in your performance to differentiate the two?
I wore a top hat.
Okay. And so you're doing that the minute the top hat goes on, you physically become the character.
Yes. I had a different physicality and I had a different accent.
What accent did you do?
I hope. In my head, I have a different accent.
Devon?
I went Devon.
And then Mexico.
That's the only accent I could do is Devon and Irish. Maybe a little bit of Spanish.
Irish.
Irish, yes. No, I did my Devon accent. Because I can do Devon.
So would you... The thing I've always not disliked about the piece, but I've noticed about the piece, is that it's quite preachy at certain points. As an audience member, you kind of get hit over the head with it. As a performer, what's it like? Did you go in? Did you start the piece with a preconceived notion about it and leave with a different thoughts about the piece? It's
always interesting to be, when you're in a show, you do get a different understanding of a piece than when you've known it before. And certainly, I suddenly got a bigger understanding of like the Mysterious Man's role and the narrator's role. Again, I thought that, coming into it, I was like, oh, the narrator, yeah, that's great. And then I realised
I'll turn up on the day and just do it.
It's just enormous. I mean, it's an enormous role. Yeah, you said to me before that you found some of Into the Woods a little bit preachy. I suppose some of those Children Will Listen, You're Not Alone moments and No More moments are a little bit preachy. You don't really feel that when you're actually involved in it and when you're amongst it. I think it probably has to do with the production. If a production lingers too much on those moments, I think it can probably come across as preachy. Whereas I think if you just move forward and just keep on moving forward, it probably won't seem so much. I mean, those are the morals of the story. I mean, but I do know what you mean. I hope that, I'm not sure, I hope our production didn't make people feel they were being preached to. So
you played the narrator. Apart from the which role would you like to play if there was a next time? If you,
I actually think it's one of those shows I like. I think I go, I kind of always like the narrator. I do. I like the narrator and Mysterious Man. I like that they are two characters. They are. I love the other characters, but I think it's one of those shows I now feel I got like an affinity to, you know.
But because in the open air production at Regent's Park, the little boy played the narrator, or the narrator was played by a little boy.
Yes, I don't know. I haven't seen any production where that's been the case, so I don't know what that would be like.
You should certainly try and watch that production and see what you think of it.
Yes, I've heard different things about
theatre.
it. I've heard different things about it, so it's very interesting. If it's a little boy, does
it make it darker, or?
Well, it certainly does when they kill him. I'd have to watch it. I don't know. It's an interesting concept.
Certainly with the whole children will listen thing, it kind of...
Yeah, I'd have to see it before I really comment on it, because I don't know how I feel about it. My conclusion was that my personal conclusion was that the narrator's actually a bit of a bastard.
His parents weren't married.
Well, no, but he's not. He's actually not a nice piece of work. Actually, when you're kind of in amongst it, and
do you get the impression he's creating everything?
Well, we suddenly had an element of that. I think that you know, everybody had their own individual stories, which were aided by our director, and certainly I think mine for the narrator was that there was a lot of things happening in his head and very controlling puppeteer sort of thing.
What did you think of the film?
I really enjoyed the film when I saw it, and then I've since watched it after knowing the show so well and gone, oh, those changes are not very good, but everything's valid. I like the art direction of the film. I think the costumes are very nice. I think it's a shame that they cut a few certain songs.
And the narrator.
And the narrator, of course. And the Mysterious Man. I think it is... I know that when they did the film, there was a lot of outrage about the fact that they did cut No More. And I didn't know No More very well at that point. And now I do know No More. I'm kind of like, yeah, they kind of should have kept that in, because it is a very important turning point for the Baker, and of course because it was one of my songs.
You could say.
Sorry,
he needs it.
Well, he does, and because it was one of my songs as well.
You missed my glorious pun.
So, oh, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll let the penny drop on that one. Dope.
Yes. So it was, yes, it was really, it was tremendous fun doing it. So yeah. Did it all come flooding back to you because you've worked in attractions for a long time, and how does that differ to suddenly have to do a show after working in the theme park industry?
Yeah. But you did shows in LA. You did A Man of No Importance.
I did, yes. I did A Man of No Importance back in 2013. And so, yes, I've been in a similar but different world, because I've still been in the entertainment world, but I've been directing, so I haven't been actually performing just as an actor. So it's nice to come back to it. It is lovely to come back to it.
Okay, so a question I have is, how was it to take directions?
It was lovely. It was really, really nice. It's quite refreshing to come back. I think being on the directing side of things for so long, for so many years, maybe gives you a little different, slightly different appreciation and mindset. So you come into things with a slightly different view. But it is nice to put yourself into someone else's hands and just say, okay, I have, you trust the director, and you say, and the production team and the musical director, and you trust them, and you say, okay, I'm trusting you to guide me through this process. So I think coming back to it from being a director, yes, it was quite refreshing and exciting, very exciting. More, please.
Please, sir, I want some more.
I want some more.
Do that.
Yes.
What shows coming up are you excited to see? Or not excited to see?
I don't think there is anything at the moment that I'm really chomping at the bit
I want
to see.
Dreamgirls.
Well, I do want to see Dreamgirls, which is weird because it's not the kind of show that is really in my consciousness, and it's not my kind of show. But
Could you clap on the second and fourth beats?
So
Has a guitar in it.
it does have it has a guitar in it. But it's not. But I've heard such good things, and I thought, well, and I've heard that it is a spectacular show. So I mean, as a piece, I've heard it's very good. So I am very excited about to maybe see that. I don't know what other shows. I quite like to see Annie. Do you know what shows are being produced at the moment? That haven't come out.
We haven't been here for long, Dom. So what shows do you want to see? Because there's so many shows that have been a long runners in London.
It's very, very. This is. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but a show that I'm actually. I'm not. I don't say excited to see. I do want to see Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill. I think just
With Wardrobe McDonald.
Audrey McDonald. I do want to see that because I've heard that she is absolutely fantastic. I'm actually interested to see Hamilton, which is strange because it's really not my type of show.
Well, it should be your type of show because it's a well-written, constructed piece of theatre.
Yes, I know, but what I meant was the music is not my. It's not.
It's a bit bum music.
It's a bit.
That's what I call hip hop bum music.
Bum music.
It goes bum 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 bum. But there is meant to be some good comedy stuff for the King.
There is. The King has got some great comedy, very, very typical musical comedy numbers. So, what other musicals are coming? Do you know what's coming?
I don't know. I've heard Mary Poppins might be coming, which would be really exciting.
Nice. But what new stuff? There must be.
I'm looking forward to Wind in the Willows.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to... I want to get back and actually see Phantom and Les Mis because it's been a very long time since I've seen both. So maybe... Okay. I also want to see Wicked again because it's been a while since I've seen that. But Hamilton I'm curious about, but it's sold out for so long.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And...
I don't know what other shows are coming in. I mean, there seems to be a lot of shows that are filling out theatres for long periods of time now.
Evita's coming back. It's going to the theatre where The Girls is playing.
Okay.
And I suggest you go and see The Girls before it closes.
Yes, I would like to see that. So I got very excited about seeing 110 The Shade and then realised that it closed on the 28th of May. So
I got excited and I realised it was at a pub.
Okay. Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, yes, but you don't go to pub theatres, do you? Or small theatres?
I do sometimes.
Do you? Right. Okay. There must be some fun musicals coming over or coming on soon, sometime.
It's interesting to keep an eye on the Other Palace, which is doing some interesting things at the moment.
Yes, didn't they? They're doing this. They're concentrating on new musicals, but are they doing any English new musicals, or is it all American new musicals?
I think it's mostly American musicals.
It'd be nice to see them doing some English new musicals.
Yeah. So get on that, writers, English people. Dom, thank you very much.
I don't think there's any lack of English composers and writers. I think it's just somebody taking a chance to putting them on.
But Dom, thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.
Coming again on to Musical Talk, and again, welcome back to London.
Thank you very much.
Your career's flourishing.
Well, it's beginning.
Dom's also on the buses, but we'll talk about that another time.
That's another show completely.